Harper Audio presents Any Man of Mine by Rachel Gibson, performed by Kathe Mazur. Chapter 1. Any Man of Mine. No Professional Athletes. Sam LeClaire was a good-looking son of a bitch. Everyone thought so. Everyone from sports writers to soccer moms. The girl wrapped up in his sheets thought so too. Although she really wasn't a girl. She was a woman. "I don't see why I can't go." Sam glanced up from the knot in his blue-striped tie and looked in the mirror at the supermodel in his bed. Her name was Veronica del Toro, but she was known by just her first name, like Tyra and Heidi and Giselle. "Because I didn't know you were going to be in town," he explained for the 10th time. "Bringing a guest at this late date would be rude." Which wasn't the real reason. "But I'm Veronica." Now there was the real reason. She was rude and narcissistic. Not that he held that against anyone. He could be rude and narcissistic himself. But unlike the stories written about him, he really did know when to behave. "I won't eat much." Try not at all. That was one of the things that irritated him about Veronica. She never ate. She ordered food like she was starving, but she pushed it around her plate. Sam slid up the knot and tilted his chin to one side as he buttoned down the collar. "I already called you a cab." In the mirror, he watched Veronica rise from his bed and walk toward him. She moved across his carpet as if she was on the catwalk. All long legs and arms, big breasts, yet hardly a jiggle. "When are you going to be back?" she asked as she wrapped her arms around his waist. She rested her chin on his shoulder and looked at him through dark brown eyes. "Late." He tilted his head to the other side, and as he buttoned the other collar point, he glanced at the big Stanley Cup champion ring on the dresser. The white and yellow gold ring had 160 diamonds, emeralds, and sapphires fashioned into the team logo on its face. On one side, the Stanley Cup and the year had been engraved. On the other, his name and number. He'd headed out to show Veronica, but he didn't plan to put it on. Even if he had been a guy who wore jewelry, which he wasn't, the huge ring covered the finger on his right hand to his knuckle and was over the top. Even for a guy who liked over the top. "How late?" Looking in the mirror, he slid his gaze to the clock on his nightstand. It was already 6:30, and the wedding started at 7. He really hadn't had the time to meet Veronica. But she wasn't in town that often, and she'd promised a quickie. He should have known better. She was Veronica, and wasn't quick about anything. "Real late. When do you fly out?" "In the morning." She sighed and slid her long hands up his dress shirt to his hard pecs. "I could wait." He turned, and her palms slid to his waist. "I don't know when I'll get back. This thing could run real late." Although, with the regular season opener in just 5 days, he doubted it. He pushed her dark hair behind her shoulder. "Call me the next time you're in Seattle." "That could be months, and by then you'll be on the road playing hockey." She dropped her hands and moved toward the bed. He watched her skinny behind as she stepped into her tiny panties. There were a lot of things to like about Veronica. Her face, her body, the fact that she was superficial, and there was nothing deep going on in her pretty head. There was nothing wrong with being superficial. Nothing wrong with living on the surface and avoiding lapses into deep thought. It made life easier. "We can always meet up on the road again." "True." She reached for a red t-shirt and pulled it over her head before stepping into a pair of jeans.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?